I like Will Jordan on the right wing, always have. And I'm really pleased to see that they're starting Reuben Love. I wondered whether they maybe take the conservative route and bring him off the bench.
What brings huge amounts of visitors into a city for one occasion? It's sports events, it's concerts. These are the things. And people spend silly money, don't they? They spend money on restaurants, bars.
He loves to run with the ball, hit hard in the tackle and that. So that'll be a good battle. In a way, you end up with the number one locking duo on the tour.
DSPN is brought to you by Novus Glass, proud partner of the Special Olympics New Zealand. The Special Olympics New Zealand National Summer Games is in Christchurch, Ōtautahi, this December. Across New Zealand, Aotearoa athletes, clubs, volunteers and families are getting ready, training, supporting each other and celebrating as the flame of hope travels down the country. Text Novus to 3598 to support our athletes. That's Novus, Novus, to 3598 to support our incredible athletes at the Special Olympics in Christchurch, Ōtautahi this December. Notice it, Novus it.
Welcome to the DSPN.
John Walker wins the 1,500 metres gold medal at the Olympic Games.
The All Blacks have won by 29 points tonight.
The Devlin Sports Podcast Network.
All Blacks named last night to play Wales. We're going to go through that team. We're going to talk about your time in Cardiff, whether anyone who's a Welsh fan actually genuinely believes they're going to win this game, what happens to the All Blacks over the summer, the other international rugby this weekend, because there's some super-duper fixtures to watch. But once again, and I don't know what the budget's like, Tone, but I look at those drapes behind you in that room, and they're a little dour. A little dour.
I don't know. I suppose I could have set myself up somewhere a little bit different, mate. But it's just about the lighting. I don't, But yeah,
the accommodation, and all the surrounds are good. You're telling me about the fridge not working as well as it should.
Oh, the fridge, yeah. I've been putting up my milk outside on the little balcony outside my room because it's colder than the fridge, but. No, it's nice. We're staying down in the Cardiff docks. It's the first time I've ever stayed down here. Normally, in the past, we've stayed right in the city centre, but they've developed this dock area, Tiger Bay, over the years. It's very nice. It's lots of great places to eat. It's not too expensive. It's a lot cheaper to eat here than it is, say, in London. And and the weather has been actually breathtakingly fine. I don't think I've ever seen fine weather like this in all the times I've been coming to Wales. Clear days, beautiful blue sky. The only thing is it is absolutely freezing, and it will be freezing inside the stadium on Saturday because it's a bit like a chili bin. But having said that, I'm really looking forward to it. Any time you get to go to that stadium, it's one of the great sporting arenas in the world. You got to congratulate them for the way they splashed out on it. It cost them a lot of money to build it, but the consequence of it is that it's totally rejuvenated the centre of Cardiff. There's now a massive, great shopping complex there, lots of restaurants, bars, etc., and it's all because of that stadium. And
Tony, don't do it.
Congratulate.
Don't do it. I know what road you're driving down here.
The lack of vision amongst some of the city leaders in New Zealand, what a stadium like this could do to a downtown area. We're going to see it in Christchurch. We're going to see how that really boosts the economy of Christchurch. But yeah, not in Auckland, it would seem.
Well, I always
say
exactly
the same thing for Auckland.
I always say, what brings huge amounts of visitors into a city for one occasion? It's sports events, it's concerts. These are the things. And people spend silly money, don't they? They spend money on restaurants, bars, Ubers, taxis, fashion, all that kind of stuff. It's not rocket science to figure the bloody thing out, mate. Come on. All right, let's look at the team. Team is up there on the side of the screen there, and I'll go through it quickly. Tamaiti, Samasoni, Tossi, Barrett, Holland, Parker, Karifi, Satiti, Cortez, Mackenzie-ALB, and Rieko, Caleb, Jordan, Reuben Love, Bell, Newell, Bauer, Lord, Leo Willie comes back in, Christie, Lester, and Sevu. So 13 changes. Tone, all week we've been hauling over the hot coals about that performance, especially the second half, the bumbling and the stumbling. Have we gone backwards as a team? All of these things. But it comes to the team naming. And I looked at this last night and started getting excited again because I'm just a dumb old fan. My team's playing again on Sunday. You only get to see the All Blacks 13 or 14 times a year. This is, as you say, a hell of a venue against a really traditionally, historically great opponent, because you and me are of the age where we go way back, as fans watching us play Wales and things. So I always look forward to this. And I know I've been grumpy all week, all of that kind of stuff, but I'm really looking forward to the game because I want to see this team play well. That's the most important thing for me here, that these players have all got an opportunity to go out there, represent our country, and to go out there and play well, and I hope that happens.
Well, the first thing is, Martin, staying in quite close proximity to the team. I've got to say that the day after Twickenham, probably the next day after that, and a little bit of the day after that, you could sense that there was a great deal of despondency, disappointment about the team. It all seemed a bit flat, but they had a really major review of the Test match. They spent hours poring over it, talking about it, and it got to the point midweek where it was okay, enough looking back. Now we start looking forward, and suddenly you could just feel things perking up, that there's another Test match to be played. It's against Wales in Cardiff at a stadium that the players are genuinely excited about playing at. They've made the changes that they promised that they would make. There's a mix there. There's still quite an experienced core there, but there's a bit of excitement that some of the younger players will bring to it. And they want to finish the year on a positive note. It's not going to change what happened last week at Twickenham. It's not going to change what happened in Wellington, but at least it gives them an opportunity to finish the year on a positive note. And you just sense that there's a bit of a buzz about the team again after that initial, real sort of sense of letdown after what happened at Twickenham.
Let's just go through this All Black side. Tamaiti, Samasoni, Tossi. A lot of bench warmers there. Guys get their chance. It's a brand new kind of front row for these guys. We haven't seen it, I don't think, all year. Correct me if I'm wrong. But that tight five has been pretty consistent for us all year. So this is going to be really important for Barrett and Holland, I think, to provide the kind of extra impetus behind those guys, isn't it? Because that's a pretty new front row.
Yeah, well, no, it's a new in terms of starting.
Yeah.
This has been the front row that's been finishing Test matches. Tamaiti Williams, I mean, he could just as easily be the starting front row. The only front rower who's two of them that weren't available. Firstly, Tavita Mafileo, who's been holding tackle bags for the whole tour, unfortunately got injured at training, so he couldn't be considered. And Ethan de Groot, who's clocked up a lot of minutes, and he got that cracker of a black eye in the game at Murrayfield, so he's not in the squad. But no, Williams, Tossi, Talkiaho, that's a robust front row. Wales have got one too. This guy, Rhys Carey, the tight head prop, he's a bit of a Tyg Furlong kind of a player. He loves to run with the ball, hit hard in the tackle and that. So that'll be a good battle. In a way, you end up with the number one locking duo on the tour, both of whom have missed matches. Obviously, Scott Barrett missed the game at Murrayfield, and Fabian Holland missed the game at Twickenham. And just talking to a couple of the coaches, they really missed him. They really rate this guy, what he brings. Obviously a big player, just seems to get better with every single game. He's probably the hardest worker in the team. They talk about him still being out on the training field when the other guys have walked off. They sometimes have to actually drag him in because he's got such an appetite for work. So don't have any dramas about the front row. The loose forward trio, Duplessis Carriffy deserves a chance. I mean, Ardie Savia, apart from getting sin-binned, played every minute of the three tests, and he has to have a break at this point. Duplessis Carriffy, he will take this opportunity with both hands. Satiti at number 8. Parker, there's a little bit of injury has come into it. Obviously, Luke Jacobson ruled out, and that meant that he couldn't be considered as well. Christian Leo Willie actually comes into the subs as well, having come into the team as a bit of a backup. So, look, I still think that's a pretty reasonable forward pack. Then you've got Ratima and Mackenzie behind the pack. It's a Chiefs combination. In fact, Leonard Brown makes it 9, 10, 12 Chiefs. Rieko Ioane, right at the end of the tour, finally gets a chance to play. Caleb Clark, you could sense after coming back from missing Twickenham with a head knock, he actually said the other day, he wanted to come in and try and do his bit to lift things up. He's been in terrific form. I like Will Jordan on the right wing, always have. And I'm really pleased to see that they're starting Reuben Love. I wondered whether they maybe take the conservative route and bring him off the bench, but no, they're going to throw him into the game right from the off. One of the things you like about him is that he's fearless under the high ball, and there'll be plenty of those. And so, he gets that opportunity to start the game, and he's also the backup number 10 as well. So when you actually look at it, there's plenty of ability in this team, and they've stuck to their word, didn't they? They said they were going to make changes. They have. There's only 3 guys backing up from Twickenham. Will Jordan, who, as I say, is in that positional switch. Scott Barrett, who, having missed a test at Murrayfield, so it's not like he's be stale or anything. And the other one's Simon Parker, and that's sort of partly due to the fact that it's been a few injuries amongst the loose forwards as well. So, stuck to their word. 13 changes, or 12 in a positional change. It's a lot, but it's still not a bad-looking lineup.
Was it always going to be this many changes, even if we'd won against England? Or do you think that they may have actually thought, okay, we might play more of the 18 boys against Wales if we'd won that game? It's just hypothetical, of course.
Yeah, look, I'd like to think so. Wales, they're at a pretty low ebb at the moment, Martin. I mean, they were very lucky to beat Japan. They had gone some incredible number of days. I think it was something like 883 days.
18 games
since their last win at the Principality Stadium. So that is a massive amount of time. And they've copped a few hidings in that time. And also they're a bit below strength too. They've lost Josh Adams, who's one of their better players, their left winger, 2 of their loose forwards, including Jack Morgan, who's normally their captain. He's an outstanding player. He's out as well. Ollie Cracknell, who was their player of the match against Japan, he's out as well. So they're not in great shape. I'm sure they'll fizz up for the game. I mean, they're a proud nation, Wales, but you'd have to think that they were probably going to pick a team like this for this game anyway, and some of these players were probably aware of that from the start of the tour, and so this is their opportunity. What they've got to do is the sort of things that we've been talking about, and they have discussed it. They've gone over it and over it and over it, but they just can't afford, even against a weakened Wales team, they cannot afford to have these 20-minute lapses anymore, because if something drastic was to happen and they were to lose this game, then I really do think it's jobs on the line stuff. So they've got to nail it. They've got to get it right. They've got to produce something for over 80 minutes. And when something goes wrong, the guys entrusted with the leadership in this team have got to really step up and make sure they get it right straight away, and they don't fall into one of those lulls, into one of those pits that we've been seeing them producing, over the last couple of years.
Well, yeah, even last year. I mean, these bits where we play really well, and as I've kept saying all year, and if we could put this bit together with this bit together with this bit, I'm looking at that midfield, Tony, and one thing that I've questioned is you had Tupai and Leicester playing against Scotland, and just in terms of combinations at that level and trying to get players really in sync at that level, and the only way you can do it is to play at that level. And then we had a chance to play these 2 guys against England, and I know that they made a positional switch and put Leicester out, and then brought Proctor in, and now you've got a brand new combination again. I just wonder with the wisdom of this, and whether or not, if we'd seen Tupai and Leicester play, say, 3 consecutive games together in the midfield, then we'd have a really good indication as maybe that is our combination. I look at ALB and I look at Rieko and I go, these guys have had a lot of test matches. Are they really getting any better as players? Are we really going to see these 2 guys playing in 2027 at the World Cup? That's the one thing I do question about this lineup, if anything.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point too. This is the 6th different combination that they've put together in the centres this year. I suppose the bottom line is they've come on tour, and they feel that they need to give them a game. And look, Rieko Ioane, he's been waiting for his opportunity, hasn't appeared at all. You'd have to hope that, I guess, having that opportunity, he'll be able to find something within himself to come out and produce the sort of rugby that we know that he's capable of. There's a lot of talent outside them. Caleb Clark, Will Jordan, Reuben Love, that's a really exciting back 3. So those guys have got a big role. I think the most important role they'll have, obviously they've got to connect on defence. There's been a lot of talk about the Welsh team not really combining particularly well. They've made another change in their midfield. They've got this big guy, Max Llewellyn, playing at centre. His dad, Gareth, was a massive lock for Wales for a long time. I think at one stage he held the record for the most number of games. So he's at centre. So he's quite a dangerous player. Reece Zammit on the wing is another one. He's the guy that went off and tried to crack the NFL in the States and only got as far as the practice squads. I think he was with Kansas City Chiefs and then Jacksonville Jaguars. Yeah, didn't really make it. So he's come back. Blair Murray at fullback, that he's the former Canterbury player, born in Hawera. He's very, very quick. So that they've got sort of threats, but the question about the Welsh is that have they got the combinations? And so in some ways, this is a great opportunity for those guys that you were talking about to show that they have still got what it takes at this level against a backline that just has a slightly stitched together look about it.
Tony, you did mention before that this game does not paper over cracks that we have seen all year, and those conversations are going to have to still take place, and they are needed over summer. But just the importance of this team going out there and playing well, and I'm not talking about for us, I'm talking about for themselves.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. And they know that. I think there's a genuine sense that they know that. And I think the coaches, you sense that they know that they really need to finish the year. I've never been one for saying they need to go out and win by 30 points. I'm old-fashioned like that. I always think that, it doesn't matter whether you win by 1 or 10 or 30, as long as you win the test match, because a test match is a test match, and in 20 years' time, the records books will show that you won the game. But I do think this is a situation where I think if they want to kind of just sort of calm down some of the angst, then they really do want to finish the year on a really, really positive note with a really good, comprehensive win. And if they scratch out a 1-point win, I don't think it's going to change the public narrative at all, because everyone knows what sort of state Wales are in. I really do think that the onus is on them to go out and not just win this test, but really win it well and play some good footy. Otherwise, as I say, those questions, they're going to be there anyway, but they'll just be magnified, because this is not a strong Wales team.
Well, have you met anyone walking around, even in the broadcasting sense, the media people that you've met, anyone from the Welsh rugby community, anyone that you're just walking around the streets that genuinely gives Wales a hope in this? I don't know what the odds are, but they'd be longer than long, would they not?
Well, mate, I can say one thing about Cardiff, and it is great to be here, I got to say. It is genuine rugby territory. There's one thing we share with Wales is that we're the two countries in the world where rugby actually is the national game.
Yeah.
So you're never too far away from someone who wants to have a chat about rugby. Everywhere you go into a restaurant or somewhere like that, or just casual conversation, and people, oh, you're from New Zealand, and they want to talk about rugby with you. And that's really cool. But I have not met one single person who gives Wales even a mild shot at winning this test match. They really are. They sort of feel like the game's not in a great state here. There's a huge row going on at the moment over the future of their setup, where, remember that they, I think quite rightly, merged their clubs into sort of more regional-based outfits, the Ospreys and the Dragons, etc. And I think it worked for quite a long time. But the rugby economy in this country is not strong. Numbers and that not strong. And so they're now talking about getting rid of one of them and only having 3, which would be a massive setback. But it's a reset that people feel that they have to take. And so that's causing a lot of consternation behind the scenes. The fact that the team hasn't been successful, perhaps at the moment. I mean, they had 2 players got picked for the British and Irish Lions. Thomas Williams got injured virtually straight away, and so he took no further part, and Jack Morgan was the other one. So, for Wales to, you think about the great Lions teams of the past, particularly that 71 team that came to New Zealand, that was based around Wales. And so for them to have really only one active player in the Lions tour this year, that just shows you how far their stocks have diminished. And so there is a sense of they're a bit forlorn about the prospects of the national team, but have to say excited about having the All Blacks in Wales, because they respect the traditions of the game. They know that the All Blacks aren't anywhere near the sort of shape of the teams that were here 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 10 years ago. But it's still the All Blacks, and so there's still a great deal of excitement. And I think it's a sellout. It's close. I don't think it's completely sellout. Very close to a sellout. So they'll still have a great crowd there. It'll be a great atmosphere, a great afternoon. But just absolutely no one's giving Wales a prayer.
Other matches this weekend, and it's not very often that the All Blacks are not the biggest game in town, but when you look at South Africa versus Ireland, and even that England-Argentina game, mate, I mean, what a game that's going to be. And then you've got Aussie versus France. We've got 3 or 4 fixtures this weekend, well worth a look-see. How do you view South Africa going to Ireland, playing an Irish team that has had a couple of games under its belt now, like they didn't before we played them in Chicago?
Yeah, look, Ireland are hanging in there, but at the moment, it's hard to see anyone beating South Africa. I'd be really shocked if they didn't win that game. Australia, just to me, seem to have fallen off the cliff. Argentina, I think, by the time the World Cup comes around, I think they're going to be genuine contenders, at least for the top 4. They seem to be building something again. It's remarkable, really, what they are able to achieve when virtually none of their players play their domestic rugby in Argentina. They're scattered around all over the world. Very interesting. Just to go on a little tangent here, Martin. I was having a chat with Pat Lamb the other day. He would turned up.
He's going to come on the podcast for us in the next couple of weeks. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, and look,
good dude.
Pat, as always, a great guy to talk about. Such a great thinker of the game, and a guy that I've been fortunate enough to know ever since I got, I was on the job with the Samoa team at the 91 World Cup. But he was saying that the great thing about the game over here at the moment is that every week you are playing against South Africans and Argentinians and, of course, the best British players. Quite a lot of players from Australia and New Zealand as well. It has a bit like the English Premier League now, where teams, have so many players from different parts of the world, and they come together and they bring the physicality and they bring the flair and the tactical nous or whatever's associated with the game they play it. And I think that's something that we really are missing in Super Rugby, where it's down now to us, Australia, Fiji and Moana, but we all play the game in a similar sort of style. Whereas over here, you've got all these different components coming into the club teams playing, if not in the England league, you play them in the European competition when you meet France, that sort of thing. And I think that's where they really have got a massive advantage at the moment. And I suppose South Africa as well, having teams in the URC, are benefiting from that as well. And that is where I think it's been a backward step in terms of that, not having that more international component with the South Africans were bringing, or Argentina and Japan even into Super Rugby.
You missed being in Edinburgh by a week, really, even though the All Blacks were in town and Argentina beat them last weekend, because that football match, I don't know whether you saw it, but you would have actually absorbed what has happened since, Tony. Has that been the biggest sports story in the UK this week? McTominay's overhead kicked the goal from halfway and Scotland qualifying after a million years?
Well, I tell you what, we went out and we had a bite to eat the other night, and we went on the way back. We saw there was a bar there and the football was on. We thought, we'll go and watch this. In fact, there's a great place just down the road from us, the sports bar. We were able to watch the Silver Ferns. I watched the end of that game.
Yeah, they play bloody well.
Yeah, and what a brilliant performance they put on. But so we go into this bar, a big sports bar, the big screens up there, and of course everyone is watching Wales. They were playing North Macedonia, and the North Macedonian team was staying at the same hotel. We're actually at the same hotel that the All Blacks are at, and the North Macedonia football team were there as well. And Wales put them to the sword, but we were more fixated on the Scotland game. One, because our camera operator, our outstanding camera operator, Sean, he's Scottish. And there was one other bloke in the bar. He'd been at a wedding, had the full kilt and everything on. So we were watching the Scotland game. Yeah. And when the scores were levelled, and let's face it, they were playing against Denmark, wasn't it?
Good team.
And they were going, oh God, here we go again, Scotland. We always miss it. And then they scored those 2 late goals, and it was pandemonium. And it was so brilliant. And the other thing I found out today, of course, Wales are through to the playoff, and I can't believe it. They have to play. They're playing Italy.
Yeah. Because Italy got thrashed at home by Norway. Norway topped that group. Amazing, eh? Yeah.
So they have to play Italy, who've won the World Cup. How many times?
4.
Yeah, and that would, if Wales could beat Italy, or whoever wins that, will go through to play the winner of the other semi-final of the play-in tournament. So even though it's this massive World Cup, and teams from other parts of the world have already qualified, you imagine, you do that, you get that far, and then you have to turn around and beat Italy and then someone else to make it. So it just shows how tough it is over here. But it was great to see it, and it obviously really perked people up with seeing Wales going so well. But to me, as I say, I was completely captivated by that Scotland performance.
Enjoy the game. Have a great call as always, mate. Thank you so much.
Cheers, Martin.
We will be live at 11 a.m. with a full post match of Wales versus the All Blacks, and also at the conclusion of the Australian-French game on Sunday morning. Do join us then on the DSPN. Huge thank you to Novus Glass for sponsoring this episode of the DSPN and for being a proud partner of the Special Olympics New Zealand. This December, over 1,200 incredible athletes, along with hundreds of volunteers, coaches and other support staff, will be making their way to Christchurch or Tautahi for the Special Olympics New Zealand 2025 National Summer Games. Novus Glass is proud to be supporting something special, and you can help support the athletes too by texting Novus to 3598. That's Novus, Novus 3598. Thanks again, Novus Glass, for supporting us here on the DSPN. Windscreen, crack or chip, notice it, Novus it.
This is the DSPN.